Thinking about studying abroad? Or maybe you are already in the US, juggling classes, worrying about your visa status, or wondering if you will even get to stay after your graduation. Yeah, it's a lot, especially now with H-1B visas facing even tighter regulations, skyrocketing denial rates, and proposals to even shut down the OPT program, that crucial window to work after your degree. It's no wonder that so many international students feel stuck. Germany is out here doing things very differently, and honestly, way better. Today, I will break it all down for you. Visas, jobs, healthcare, and even maternity leave. And why moving to Germany might just be the smart move. This is why you should move from the US to Germany right now. Let's go! Let's start with the student visa. In the US, international students are on F1 visa. And as soon as you graduate, your OPT clock or optional practical training starts ticking. Using OPT, F1 students can work up to 1 year on any job. STEM students get additional 2 years if they work in a job that is related to their previous degree. However, you have only 90 days to look for a job, and the clock starts ticking the day after you graduate, meaning that ideally you should have a job even before you complete your degree, or you risk deportation. No pressure, right? Now, let's compare that with Germany. After graduating from a German university, you get up to 18 months. Yes, a year and a half to find a job related to your field. That's 6 times more time to explore your options, network, and find the right opportunity. But let's say you do find a job in the US. Guess what? You will likely need the H-1B work visa. And that means entering the dreaded H-1B lottery system. There is a cap of only 85,000 visas per year, with over 480,000 applications in 2023 alone. That's an 18% chance, if you're lucky. In Germany, no lottery. If you have a degree and a job that meets the salary requirements, you qualify for the EU Blue Card, a streamlined, merit-based system designed to attract skilled professionals. Now, even if you win the H-1B lottery, there is another layer of stress. Every time you get a new US visa, or even if you're renewing the old one, you will have to travel to your home country. That means burning through your only 14 days vacation a year, paying for flights, dealing with consulate delays, and holding your breath, hoping that your visa isn't delayed or rejected. And if your visa doesn't come back in time, you may lose your job. If you can't get an early appointment in your home country or your passport gets stuck, you are stranded. You can't leave the US, even for emergencies. For example, I couldn't go home to India for 3 years. I was getting ready to defend my thesis and my student visa was about to expire. After graduation, I just had 90 days to find a job, or I would have had to leave the country. The pressure was overwhelming. Visiting my aging parents should have been a priority, but it wasn't even on the table. And I feel guilty about that every day. In Germany, it's totally different. If you are staying for work, studies, or anything beyond tourism, you get a physical residence card. When it's time to renew, you just go to your local city office. If you can't get an appointment right away, they will give you a temporary card or a temporary permit. And that lets you legally live, work, and even travel in and out of Germany while you wait for the actual residence card. Did I just mention 14 days of vacation in the US? Well, even that could be a luxury. Believe it or not, US federal law does not require employers to offer any paid or unpaid vacation days. Zero. No federal law, no state mandate, nothing. Which means that even on major holidays like Christmas Eve, your boss can legally ask you to work and you can't say no. It's completely up to the employer. In Germany, it's actually exactly the opposite. Under the Federal Holidays Act, employees working a standard 5-day work week are guaranteed a minimum of 20 paid vacation days per year. And most employers offer 30 paid vacation days on top of public holidays. And that is more than double of what most Americans even dream of. In the US, if you are on H-1B visa, you have only 60 days to find a job after you are fired, or you have to leave the country. That is barely enough time to update your LinkedIn, let alone line up interviews. In Germany, if you are on a blue card and you lose your job, you can stay from 3 to 6 months to find a new one. And you still get access to health insurance and social benefits during this time. Let's talk about healthcare and workers' rights. My favorite. In the US, the federal law doesn't guarantee any paid sick leave. Some states mandate it, but on an average, American workers get 40 sick hours or 5 sick days per year. In Germany, all employees have unlimited paid sick leave. Yes, you heard it right. Unlimited paid sick leaves, fully covered by your employer for the first 6 weeks, and after that, the public health insurance takes over. And maternity leave? Haha. US is the only developed country with zero federally mandated paid maternity leaves. Nothing. In Germany, it starts with Mutterschutz, 6 weeks before and 8 weeks after birth, where mothers are legally protected and not allowed to work. This is a fully paid leave and mandatory. Then comes Elternzeit or parental leave, 12 months if one parent takes it, or 14 months if shared between both parents, paid at 60% of their salary. And here is the kicker. Parents can even take a family break for up to 3 years. During this time, their job is fully protected, although salary is paid only for the first year. Now compare that to the US, where the only law protecting your job is the Family and Medical Leave Act, which gives you just 12 weeks of unpaid leave and only if you have worked for at least 12 months. Some companies would even require mothers to wait a full 2 years before using any maternity benefits. Most American mothers have to burn through all of their vacation days just to be with their newborns. In the US, on a federal level, there is no requirement to have a health insurance at all. A few states enforce it with penalties, but in most places, it's up to you. And your employer is also not obligated to provide it either. That means if you want coverage, you should pay yourself. And even then, you are not fully protected. Depending on the plan, you will likely face copays or deductibles. A simple doctor's visit costing $100 could still leave you having to pay $30 out of your pocket. But the worst? Emergency services. If you call an ambulance in the US, expect to pay at least $250 even with insurance. In some states, over $1,000. Even if you skip the ambulance and walk to the emergency room yourself, you will still have to pay a minimum of $200, no matter how minor the issue is. I had to go to the emergency room twice in Boston. I had insurance and I still had to pay $200 for every visit. They ran a very basic test, gave me an antibiotic, and they sent me home in under an hour. In Germany, health insurance is mandatory, and that's a good thing. It ensures that everyone receives care when they need it. It ensures that everybody gets treated equally, whether you are rich or whether you are poor. But it is not one size fits all. You can actually choose your insurance provider. Once you are employed, your company automatically registers you with the provider you picked. The contribution rate is about 14.6% of your gross salary, and it is split evenly, which means that you pay 7.3% and your employer covers the rest. And if you are sick for longer than 6 weeks, the first 6 weeks are paid by your employer, and after that, the insurance takes over, covering up to 60% of your salary, up to 1,800 euros per month. In Germany, all statutory health insurance providers provide identical coverage, and emergency care comes with almost zero deductible. Here's the real story. My husband injured his ACL and needed surgery. We went to the emergency, consulted several surgeons, and did a bunch of physio sessions before and after surgery. The whole thing took almost a year. And do you know how much we paid? 200 euros. And by the way, that also included a private room in the hospital. I paid almost the same amount, $200 in Boston, for only 1 hour of emergency services. In Germany, 1 year of complete orthopedic care, surgery, and recovery. Also, 200 euros. Okay, so you have survived the brutal hours, the shaky healthcare, and the visa stress in the US. You have paid your taxes, you are contributing to the economy. So, what's next? A green card? Not so fast. Especially for Indian and Chinese nationals, getting a US permanent residency is a nightmare. The EB2 category, the most common skilled worker route, has a backlog so bad that Indian applicants are stuck waiting for green cards for at least 20 years. And that is 20 years of renewing your visa, dealing with lawyers, and praying for policy changes that may never come. Sure, there is the EB1 route, but that is basically reserved for the elite. Think PhDs, published research, years of US work experience, maybe a Nobel Prize or two. It's faster, but also brutal, expensive, complicated, and rejection is very common. And unless you want to spend months drowning in paperwork, you will probably also need an immigration lawyer. That will cost you at least $10,000. And don't forget the stress, sleepless nights, life on hold, and the constant fear that one mistake could set you back for years. Germany? Way simpler. If you are a skilled worker with the EU Blue Card, which most STEM jobs qualify for, you can apply for permanent residency just after 21 months. Yes, less than 2 years if you know B1 level German, or just after 27 months with A1 level German, which means in less than 3 years of working and living in Germany, you qualify for permanent residency. You get a job that meets salary requirements, book an appointment, upload documents, and pick up your blue card from your local city office. And when the time comes for permanent residency, same process. Appointments, documents, card. No lotteries, no nationality-specific backlogs. And the fee? Just 150 euros. And here's the kicker. Even if you don't qualify for a blue card, if you have worked in Germany for 5 years, paid taxes, contributed to pension, have a stable job, you can become a German citizen. You can apply yourself for just 300 euros. In some cities, it's approved in just 3 months. No favoritism, no lotteries, no 20-year queues. Skilled Indian workers are helping to build both economies. But only one country seems to recognize that. Germany is making it easier to stay, settle, and to thrive. Meanwhile, in the US, immigration reforms keep getting pushed back. And it feels like the system is working against you. Why fight for a country that is making harder and harder to stay, while there is another that is actively inviting to call it your home? Okay, I hear you, but Germany has such high taxes. It's true, almost 50% of your salary might go into taxes. But here's the thing, that's just not money disappearing into a black hole. That 50% includes your contribution to healthcare, pension, unemployment benefits, parental leave, and much more. It's not just tax, it's security. I made way more money as a postdoc in Harvard than I do now in Hamburg. We are talking $600 more every month. But you know what? Even in Hamburg, one of the most expensive cities in Germany, I save way more than I could ever in Boston. Living costs are lower, groceries, rent, insurance, all way more manageable. Education? Virtually free. Public transport? Amazing. You don't even need a car here. And even if you do have a car like I do for the occasional road trips, you'll still spend way less overall here than you would ever spend in the US. In Germany, you might earn a little less, but you live a lot more. And most importantly, you save. Now let's talk about German language requirement, because I know that a lot of you are wondering if you can work in Germany without knowing German. The short answer, it depends on the job. For PhD or postdoc positions, the good news is that German is almost never required. In fact, most of the research work and communication in academia is done in English. I personally have never heard of a PhD or postdoc position that required fluency in German. For most PhD applications, as a matter of fact, you would require an English language proficiency such as TOEFL or IELTS. If you are in tech or technical fields, the situation is similar. Most roles don't require any German at all. English is the primary working language, especially at international companies, research institutes, or startups. Now, if you are applying for client facing, customer support, healthcare, or business management roles, then yes, German is usually required. These roles involve direct communication with local clients or patients, and companies expect a strong command over the language to serve their customers effectively. Here's a tip: even if you don't need German right away, it's totally worth it learning over time. You can start in a technical role where English is sufficient, and then once your German improves, transition to roles where German is required. Comment below what kind of job you're looking for, and I will let you know if German is necessary for that role. So, if you're weighing your future, job security, work life balance, basic human dignity, ask yourself, why fight for a broken system in the US when there is a better one waiting for you in Germany? Now, I want to hear from you. Are you considering a move abroad? Drop your questions in the comments and let's talk. And don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone stuck in the visa struggle, because this information could literally change their life.